Welcome back to our channel, fellow Port Charles addicts. Today is a glorious, dramatic day to be a soap fan, and we are absolutely buzzing. Grab your strongest cup of coffee, or maybe something a little harder, because we have got to unpack the absolute insanity that just dropped on our screens. I am still shaking, and we need to process this together immediately. You guys, we have to talk about Jocelyn and Z. Or should I say, well, wait, let me catch my breath before I just blurt it out. Because if you haven't seen the episode yet, you are not ready. You think you are, but you aren't. Okay, so let's back up for a second and look at the build-up. We all saw Jocelyn getting super suspicious of Z, right? Like, the guy is supposed to be the mysterious, untouchable head of the WSB. He just made this massive, life-altering deal with Jocelyn to free Jason and Valentine Cassadine. But then he's creeping around Spoon Island with a mysterious agenda? Why is the head of an international intelligence agency having these super shady, unexplained activities on Windermere's turf? It made zero sense. I was sitting on my couch thinking, okay, maybe Z is working with Sidwell, or maybe he's trying to double-cross Cullum. I had like 50 theories running through my head. But Jocelyn, being the absolute mini Carly that she is, couldn't just leave well enough alone. She had to go snooping. And honestly, I love that for her. She is not a damsel in distress anymore. She is a full-on operative, and she decided to break into Z's private office to see what the hell he was actually up to. The tension in this scene, you guys, oh my god. The lighting was so dark and moody, and the music was doing that pulsing, heartbeat thing that GH does when someone is about to get caught doing something highly illegal. Jocelyn is rifling through Z's desk, looking for files, looking for anything that proves he's up to no good on Spoon Island. I was literally biting my nails. I mean, remember when Carly used to do this stuff back in the 2000s? Sneaking into Lorenzo Alcazar's places or snooping on Sunny? Jocelyn is her mother's daughter through and through. But then, the door opens. Z walks in, and he catches her red-handed. I stopped breathing. I really did. I thought, well, she's dead. The WSB director is going to execute her right here. But Jocelyn doesn't just cower. She fights back. We get this incredibly fierce, intense physical struggle between the two of them. Jocelyn is using all her self-defense training, throwing punches, shoving him against the wall. It was chaotic and messy, and so real. And then, in the middle of this violent grappling match, Jocelyn grabs his face. She grabs his face, and she pulls. And you guys, the skin stretches. It wasn't his real face. It was a sophisticated, Mission Impossible style disguise mask. She tears the mask completely off, and the camera does this massive, dramatic zoom in on the face underneath. It is Cesar Faison. I repeat, it is Cesar freaking Faison. I jumped off my couch. I knocked over my drink. Cesar Faison is alive? How? We literally saw him die years ago. We saw the body. We saw the funeral. Wait, did we see a funeral? I can't even remember because on this show, unless you are cremated and your ashes are shot into the sun, you are never actually dead. And even then, I wouldn't put it past them to clone you from a rogue eyelash. But Faison, the ultimate big bad? The man who tortured Anna Devane, who obsessed over her for decades, who caused so much trauma for Robin, for Jason, for Sunny, for Carly. He is Z? He is the head of the WSB? Wait. I just realized something, and I am literally slapping my forehead right now. How did I not see this coming? Faison has done this before. Remember when he wore a hyper-realistic mask to impersonate Duke Lavery? He ran around Port Charles for ages, fooling everyone, even Anna for a while, wearing Duke's face. Of course he would use the exact same tactic to become Z. It is his signature move. The man loves a theatrical rubber mask. I am so mad at myself for not putting the pieces together when Z first showed up, acting all mysterious and keeping to the shadows. Faison didn't just steal the WSB, he stole a whole new identity using the exact same playbook he used in the 2010s. The continuity, the callbacks, I am geeking out so hard right now. Say what you want about the writers, but when they pull from the show's rich history like this, it is absolute perfection. Let's just pause and think about the sheer, unadulterated horror of this moment for Jocelyn. The realization hitting her face was masterclass acting. Eden McCoy deserves an Emmy just for the way her eyes widened in pure terror. She just signed an employment contract with the WSB. She struck a deal with Z. She bound herself to this agency to save Jason and Valentine. And she just realized she signed her life away to the greatest enemy her family has ever known. She literally made a deal with the devil. I mean, can you imagine? You think you're playing this high-level spy game, outsmarting the corrupt agents, and it turns out the guy pulling the strings is the monster your mother warned you about in bedtime stories. And Faison. Oh my god. Faison. He just stands there, rubbing his jaw where the mask was. And he smiles. That wicked, terrifyingly evil smile that only Cesar Faison can pull off. He doesn't even look panicked that he's been caught. He looks thrilled. He looks like a cat playing with a mouse. He just calmly looks at Jocelyn and declares that the WSB is now entirely under his control. The whole agency. The resources, the black sites, the agents, the satellites, everything. The WSB is Faison's personal playground now. And then he drops the absolute hammer on Jocelyn. He tells her that she is his perfect pawn, his ultimate weapon to exact his revenge on Sonny Corinthos and Carly Spencer. I felt sick. I actually felt sick to my stomach. Because Faison hates Sonny and Carly. He has always hated them. They have thwarted him, they have survived him, and now he has their daughter in the palm of his hand. And not just as a hostage. No, that would be too easy for Faison. He has her as an employee. He has her bound by WSB treason laws. If she disobeys him, she's a rogue agent. If she runs, he can have her legally hunted down by every intelligence agency on the planet. He has trapped her in the most brilliant, twisted way possible. You could see the exact second Jocelyn realized she had accidentally aided a monster. She thought she was being so smart playing Z to get Jason out of that black site in Jakarta. But Faison probably orchestrated the whole thing. He probably let Jason go just so he could get his hooks into Jocelyn. She handed herself over on a silver platter. I am so mad at her, but I am also so heartbroken for her. Because, what is she supposed to do now? She's standing in this office on Spoon Island, staring into the eyes of a psychopath who has murdered countless people, and she knows that if she screams, if she runs, her family is dead. Jocelyn doesn't know what to do. The panic in her eyes was so real. But she knows one thing for absolute certain. Faison is too dangerous, and he will not hesitate to slaughter her entire family if she crosses him. He could have Donna killed. He could have Avery killed. He could blow up Sonny's penthouse or Carly's house with the snap of his fingers. So what does she do? She has to submit. She is forced to obey Faison's orders. Jocelyn Jacks, the girl who never backs down from a fight, the girl who stood up to mobsters and serial killers, has to bow her head and take orders from Cesar Faison. It is humiliating and it is terrifying, and I am so here for it. Think about Jocelyn's psychology right now. She has spent the last few years trying to prove she's an independent adult. She broke away from the mob life. She tried to forge her own path. She joined the WSB thinking she was doing something noble and powerful. She wanted to be the hero who saved Jason and Valentine. She wanted to prove to Carly that she didn't need to be coddled. And instead, her hubris has led her straight into the jaws of a monster. The guilt she must be feeling right now has to be suffocating. She knows that if she had just listened to Carly, who literally begged Z to fire her, ironically saving her from this, she wouldn't be in this mess. But she was too stubborn. She thought she knew better. And now, her arrogance has placed a target on the backs of everyone she loves. It is a devastating character arc. Wait, am I getting ahead of myself? I know some people are going to hate this. I know the forums are probably exploding right now with people screaming about how Faison's story was done, and why can't they come up with new villains? And look, I get it. I really do. Sometimes, it feels like we are just recycling the same bad guys from the 80s and 90s. But come on, you cannot deny the sheer dramatic potential of this. I mean, think about the Faison family tree right now. Cassius Faison is running around Port Charles wearing a dead detective's face. Anna Devane is hallucinating Peter August, who is Faison's spawn. Liesl Obrecht is tangled up in the cold fusion mess. The Faisons are literally orchestrating a hostile takeover of the entire show, and I am kind of obsessed with it. I contradict myself, I know! One minute I want new stories, the next I'm cheering for the return of a guy who should be a skeleton. But that's soap operas, baby! And let's talk about Jason for a second. Jason is on his way back to Port Charles, right? He's supposed to be a free man because of the deal Jocelyn made. But if Faison is Z, then Jason isn't really free at all. Faison hates Jason. Jason is Sonny's right-hand man, his enforcer, his brother. Faison probably only agreed to free Jason so he could track him, monitor him, and ultimately use Jocelyn to destroy him. Can you imagine the sick games Faison is going to play? He's going to order Jocelyn to spy on Jason. He's going to make her feed the WSB information about Sunny's organization. Jocelyn is going to be the mole inside her own family, and Jason, who is usually so perceptive, might not even see it coming because he trusts Jocelyn. It's a complete violation of everything Jocelyn stands for, and Faison knows exactly how much it will torture her. And can we please talk about Carly for a minute? Carly is already frantic. She is pacing the halls of General Hospital, screaming at Z to fire Jocelyn, completely unaware that she is yelling at Cesar Faison in a rubber mask. When Carly finds out about this, and you know she will eventually, the explosion is going to register on the Richter scale. Carly will burn the world down to protect her kids. But how do you fight the entire WSB? How do you fight an agency that has unlimited global power, run by a man who has zero moral compass? Carly is going to have to team up with Sunny, Jason, Valentin, Anna. Literally everyone is going to have to form an Avengers-level team to take this guy down. Let's also remember Faison's history. This isn't just about Sunny and Carly. If Faison is alive and running the WSB, what does this mean for Anna? Anna is currently in France, or on her way back, having mental breakdowns and hallucinating Peter. What if Faison is the one who drugged her? What if Faison is the one who orchestrated her entire kidnapping and gaslighting at Windermere? It makes perfect sense. Cullum and Sidwell are just flunkies. They are just foot soldiers. Faison is the puppet master who has been pulling the strings this entire time, punishing Anna for Peter's death, punishing Liesel, punishing everyone. The puzzle pieces are finally clicking together and my mind is blown. And what about Cassius Faison? Faison raised Cassius. If Faison is Z, he's the one giving Cullum orders, which means Faison ordered Cullum to order Cassius to kill Sidwell. Faison is pulling all the strings of his own son. He is playing 4D chess with his own family, using them as pawns on a global scale. Liesel is going to absolutely lose her mind when she finds out the man she thought was dead is actually the one keeping her captive and forcing her to work on the cold fusion project. The family dynamics here are so toxic and so incredibly entertaining. So what happens next? What are Faison's first orders going to be for Jocelyn? He's not going to just have her fetching coffee. He's going to make her do dark, twisted things. He's going to make her betray her own family to prove her loyalty. What if he makes her plant evidence against Sunny? What if he forces her to set Jason up to go back to a black site? I am dreading watching Jocelyn have to hurt the people she loves, but at the same time, this is exactly the kind of character-building angst she needs. She's been a little too confident lately, a little too sure that she can outsmart everyone. Faison is going to break her down, and we are going to see what she's really made of when she has to build herself back up from absolute rock bottom. I have to give major props to the writers and the directors for this episode. The way they framed that mask reveal was pure cinema. The rubber tearing, the sound design, the sheer shock value. It's so campy, but so good. I know some fans are going to roll their eyes at the Mission Impossible mask trope, but honestly, it fits the WSB narrative perfectly. If anyone has access to hyper-realistic, voice-altering disguise technology, it's the head of a global spy syndicate. And Faison using it to hide in plain sight right in the middle of Port Charles? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, I need to go drink some water and calm my heart rate down. I am so emotionally invested in this show, it is actually unhealthy. But I wouldn't have it any other way. What do you guys think? Are you loving the return of Faison, or are you throwing your remotes at the screen? How long do you think Jocelyn can keep this secret before she completely cracks? And who is going to be the first person she confesses to? Drop your thoughts, your theories, your rants, and your tears in the comments. We need a support group after this episode. Until next time, stay safe out there, Port Charles, because the devil is officially back in town.